Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, plus exclusive experiences, discounts, and tickets. Already a AAA member? Upgrade for free or join today at AAA.com/Commanders. Hello and welcome to my podcast. Do me a favor, subscribe to the John Keim Report wherever you get your podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. You can find us there. It's part of Ampire Media, Ampire. Always much appreciated when you tune in. Don't forget, you can read my work on ESPN.com. Been telling you, got a story on Jaden Daniels coming on Thursday. I think you'll enjoy it. Have a story up, I have to believe it, up tomorrow, I think, on Debo and the run game and all that. There's a story about Jaden Daniels responding to Brian Burns is about how he likes to talk. Kind of a funny little exchange. Anyways, all that up on ESPN.com. And by the way, the John Keim Report is presented by AAA. For you club members, I will be doing another private chat before the game. So let's go. I'm going to tentatively set it at 5 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know. Well, that's tentative set. You'll get the link on the club member, for you club members, you'll receive the link or you can check it on the site, whatever. So yeah, for sure. But I'll also remind you on my 5 thoughts that will come out Thursday morning. So anyways, private chat, we had a few people on there last time. It's good. Please take advantage of it. It's something I want to do with you guys. So there you go. In a minute, I'll be joined by ESPN's Rob Demovsky to talk about the Green Bay Packers coming off a season opening win of their own and what Micah Parsons offers them. Of course, quite a bit, but it's way more than just about Micah Parsons, why the Packers are a contender for the Super Bowl. So should be a fun one on Thursday night. Just a couple things before I get to my interview or conversation with Rob. Tress Way was listed on the injury report with a back issue that stems from the block kick the other day. They did work out 2 punters today. Dan Quinn felt like Tress Way would be okay. Jaden Daniels was on the injury report the other day with a wrist injury. There's 0% chance that this is going to bother him. So anyways, just to calm your fears. Interesting day in the locker room. I'm going to talk a lot about what I learned in there as well as on Wednesday for my 5 thoughts, which will come out Thursday morning. So just to get you ready for the game, I'll dig into the Packers a little bit. I've been watching a little bit of what I can of the film, harder on the short week, just to try and provide some insight, but also some stuff from the locker room, one of which is about really, this is a smart defense. And I got some more examples of that. So anyways, that's one thing. Those are some of the things I'll be talking about for Thursday. When you're in that locker room, what you sense from the team, confidence and excitement for this game. Like they know it's going to be a very tough game. They're also very excited for this game. I don't think they look around and think like, oh, how good are we? Is this a measuring stick? I don't think that's how they view it. I mean, I think you can always learn something about your team in every game. So the Giants game was a measuring stick. This game is a measuring stick. The Raiders game is a measuring stick. But I think, I'm going to probably talk a little bit about this on Thursday, but I think we're well beyond the point of, is this a good team or not? They're a good team. So accept it, enjoy it, and embrace it. So anyway, folks, that's about all I have for you. But before I get to Rob, Commanders fans, this is for you. Level up with the brand new AAA Commanders MVP membership. You'll receive all the benefits of AAA, such as 24/7 roadside assistance, plus chances to win game tickets, access to exclusive team events and experiences, along with 15% off Commanders gear at the online pro shop. Already a AAA member? Add the Commanders MVP membership for free. Head to AAA.com/Commanders to upgrade or join the squad and put your fandom in drive. All right, folks, here you go. Here's my conversation with ESPN Packers reporter Rob Demowsky. All right, Rob, well, obviously the big focus in the Packers win was Micah Parsons. So we'll start there. Okay. I only played, I think in your story you had like 29 snaps you had him.
Yep.
How did he look?
Fast, like really fast. You've probably seen him more than I have, being, coming from Dallas and being in your division. But the last time the Packers played him, they pretty much neutralized him in that playoff game a couple of years ago down in Dallas. I mean, Zach Tom almost shut him out, but he looked really fast. And I don't know, maybe it's fresh legs or whatever from not doing anything in camp, but and I realized he was closing on a very slow quarterback, but when he closed on Jared Goff at the end of his sack. He was going 18 and a half miles an hour, according to the Next Gen. And they actually said that is the fastest he's ever gone on any of his career sacks,
Really?
53 and a half sacks. So it's funny because I actually asked him, I said, you know how fast you were going on that? And he said 21. And I was like, well, not that fast. Like that's like elite receiver fast. But he has done on and off the field, has done, everything they could have asked for. He's been the perfect guy. We'll see what happens when the first bit of adversity comes. But I mean, so far he's been a model citizen on and off the field.
Is there, I know it was it the back injury that was causing some question leading to that? Is
The
how,
back injury,
okay.
alleged
Okay.
back
All right.
injury.
So kind of like Terry McLaurin's ankle during training camp.
Yeah, I think very similar.
Okay. Yeah, it was amazing how much the best cure for that was signature on a contract. It
No
was
doubt.
really,
Yeah.
really kind of weird.
Nothing a 100 million can't fix, right?
That's right. So with him, like, how much do you then expect him to play more? How much more do you expect him to play
Yeah.
maybe Thursday?
I don't know if it'll be significantly more, John, just because of the quick turnaround. And I mean, he's bound to be more sore, just because he hasn't done anything football related. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a very similar role. For most about the first 2.5, 3 quarters, he just came in on third downs, and really only the third and medium to longs. Towards the end, they actually left him out there a little bit longer. He played some first and second downs, but for the part of the game where it was a competitive game, it was pretty much only on third down. So I would think it would be very similar on Thursday. Then they get the little mini bye after that and can reassess.
So, and I haven't had a chance to watch any of that game yet, but how much were they moving him around? That was one of the big thing in Dallas. So how much
Yeah.
would they do that?
So not a whole lot. They moved other guys around though. They unveiled this package that Parsons told us is called Cheetah. They basically have 3 of their edge rushers on the field because before Micah Parsons got here, the starting defensive end, edge guys, whatever you want to call them, were Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness, 2 former first-round picks. Well, Lucas Van Ness is going to suffer with this, and I actually wrote about this for tomorrow. That Micah Parsons has gone out of his way to treat Lucas Van Ness not only with respect but praise him. So they actually have this package called Cheetah, where Van Ness moved inside, and then Parsons and Gary were on the outside. Then they had another one of their traditional defensive tackles, in the middle. So right now they're moving other guys around. There was a play where they actually dropped Van Ness into coverage from the inside, and Quay Walker came out of pressure. It wasn't a blitz because it was still only 4-man, but Parsons was still on the left defensive end. So, I mean, he has moved from left D end to right D end, but so far, nothing over the ball, nothing standing up off the line of scrimmage yet.
So, I mean, these guys have a rookie right tackle. Would you anticipate a lot on the left end side?
I would
Tunsil's
think so.
On the other side.
Yeah, no, he did. I mean, he naturally lined up there yesterday for the most part, and he was going against Penei Sewell, who is a 2-time All-Pro tackle. So, I would think regardless of who's at right tackle, that seems to be at least the side that they're starting him out on predominantly. But he made Sewell look fairly ordinary, I thought.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one for them. And then just how did you view this defense before he arrived? And then how do you see them now?
So the 2 biggest question marks, I think, coming out of last season were the pass rush and cornerback, specifically with Jair Alexander. He hardly played last year, and it was pretty obvious they were going to move on from him. Now, the only real moves they made at the corner spot were signing Nate Hobbs, a free agent from the Raiders. He didn't even play yesterday. He's got a knee injury. Probably questionable again this week. So they really didn't do a whole lot to address that position. And then they did nothing from a personnel standpoint on the defensive line until the 4th round of the draft, when they finally drafted a couple of defensive linemen. They did, however, make a D-line coaching change. They fired their former D-line coach, and they hired DeMarcus Covington, who had a stint as the Patriots defensive coordinator, but was in the Patriot system for a long, long time. And before Parsons got here, the players were raving about that was the way they were going to improve, because the DeMarcus Covington was going to simplify things, get more out of them. So obviously then they signed Parsons, and that addresses it, but they did not address the cornerback position. They still really haven't. So to me, that's that was the concern, and it's still a concern.
And I
But
would say,
but I will say this, as you know, John, the best thing for a cornerback is a
right.
pass rush. So
That's right.
maybe
And I was going to say, so how do you view this team then? Because obviously, like you have to put them on a short list of Super Bowl contenders.
yeah. Yeah, and I think they were there. They were in that conversation before. And I've obviously this did nothing to change that and only boosted it. I think, from my perspective, you look at it in the division. Okay.
Mhm.
Detroit and Minnesota had great years. Detroit's had a really good run. But Detroit lost both coordinators. So they beat Detroit in the opener. Minnesota, huge question mark. I mean, they have a great roster, but who knows what the quarterback's going to be like. So, and then Chicago is starting over again for the umpteenth time. So, like, to me, this was the year that the Packers need to make the jump to get back to winning the division, because they've been in the playoffs the last 2 years and they've been a wild card team and had to go on the road. And they lost at Philly, they lost at San Francisco the last 2 years in the playoffs. So, when early on in the Matt LaFleur tenure, they were winning the division, they were getting home playoff games, and that's reason they went to the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row.
So offensively, well, let me stick on defense because Edgerrin Cooper looked like he had
Yeah,
a pretty good game yesterday too. How because there are going to be some guys that get overlooked. Xavier
yeah,
McKinney, they have some other really good players at D. How good was Cooper yesterday, and what do you expect from him?
yeah. Before the Parsons trade, if you'd asked me who's going to be the breakout star of this defense or the star of this defense, I probably would have said Edgerrin Cooper. I mean, this is a guy who, twice last year as a rookie was defensive player of the week, not rookie
Right.
of the week, player of the week. They brought him along slowly last year. He was not a full-time guy. He was only in certain packages because they didn't want to overload him. And now he is now a full-time player, three-down player, and he looks like he can handle it. And I mean, this guy can run, he can hit, he's strong, he's quick. I mean, he's got everything that you would want in an off-the-ball linebacker.
And then offensively, Jordan loves progression. How have you seen him progress? And I mean, he's
Yeah.
deeper in his career now, but like, where have
Yeah,
you
I
seen
think
him?
the only thing that they think holds Love back is just some accuracy, and it's not all the time. Like there was a throw in the game the other day, Tucker Kraft wide open down the field, and he didn't just overthrew him; he like way overthrew him.
Hmm.
And then he had one that he basically threw it right to a Lions. I think it was Anzalone, the linebacker, and just dropped it, like just flat out dropped the interception. Just a misplaced throw, that shouldn't have been made, or if it was made, needed to be in a different spot. That's the only thing that I think it's maybe it's nitpicking, but that is what separates the good
Right.
quarterbacks from the great ones. And I still think he is on the trajectory to becoming one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But if accuracy holds him back, he might not quite ever get there. I thought he looked really, really sharp right away, especially considering he really missed the back half of training camp with that left thumb
Right.
injury. And I know doesn't affect your throwing, but he still missed a ton of reps. Jaden Reed, their slot receiver, missed almost all of camp. Dontavian Wicks missed almost all of camp, and yet they still, especially early, came out against the Lions and were very efficient and hit some balls down the field. He had to throw to Dobbs down the field that was right on the money. Set up. Then the next play was a touchdown to Reed. So he looks like he didn't miss any time, even though he did. The question is just what's the next step for him? Some of it may be, John, to be honest, like he doesn't have a Devontae Adams or a Jordy Nelson, a guy that Aaron Rodgers could just knew, even if he was off target a little bit, the guy was going to go catch it. Obviously, they drafted Matthew Golden. He had 2 catches in the game the other day. One was for a first down, really nice play on a crossing pattern. But like their leading receiver had 3 catches. Their leading target guy had 5. I think he completed passes to like 10 or 11 different guys. So they I don't know how much of this is about the quarterback or how much is about what he has around him. But, sometimes when you don't have a true number one or a true go-to guy, your quarterback looks maybe a little less efficient.
And for sure. And then Josh Jacobs, second year there, big, pretty good, looked like a pretty good year last year. I think it was like, what, 1,400 yards, something like that.
Really good year. Yeah.
So how is that? Because the one thing Washington did very well against the Giants, bad offense, but they dominated them against the run.
Yeah.
So where are the Packers? I mean, solid offensive line. I mean, that's
Yeah, Josh Jacobs had a great year last year. Was everything they could have wanted and more. 1,300 yards, 15 rushing touchdowns in his first year here. The Lions clearly came out with the intent that they were not going to let number 8 beat them. And Jacobs had like 6 carries for 8 yards or something in the first half. Ended up with 19 for 66. Most of it in the second half was yards that he earned. I mean, a lot of yards after contact. I think he looked pretty strong. They had some injuries on the offensive line. Zach Tom, the right tackle, did not finish the game with a hip injury. Aaron Banks also did not finish the game. Their left guard. So there's definitely some injury and availability questions with their offensive line this week, but they still looked pretty good.
and obviously we won't know that. We're taping this on Monday, so by the
Yep.
time Wednesday rolls around, we'll probably have a better idea. So check back on social media, ESPN.com for that. Um, I won't even get into that because we don't know with kind of concerns. What's last time you've seen this team up close, they looked a little bit different. So
Yep.
what's the, I don't know about vibe, but feeling
Yeah.
about Green Bay about this team at this point?
Well, I mean, think about Matt LaFleur's history with your head coach,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
They
that's
worked
right.
together in Atlanta for a number of years. A lot of respect there from LaFleur in that regard. So, I mean, I think they know what they're getting with a Washington team, that maybe is a little unfamiliar, personnel wise, but not scheme wise, and not what they want to do to you. Also, I talked to LaFleur and their GM Brian Gutekunst about just the different paths that the quarterbacks from each team has taken. Jaden Daniels obviously playing right away, and Jordan Love sitting. And the one thing, like, LaFleur, of course, when it came back to coaching, credited the coaching staff and really, putting him in great positions. And then the GM, of course, credited the fact that this is a guy who played a lot of football,
Yeah.
right? How many college games did he
More
start?
than, more than 50.
50. Yeah, that's, I think Gutekunst had said. He goes, this is a guy who had 50 plus starts under his belt, and this was not your normal 1 year wonder, and that's why he had a great year last year, and it was a flash in the pan. This is a guy who's shown it over the course of several years at the college level. So I do think they certainly know what they're in for on Thursday night.
Last thing, what could derail this team this year? I mean, obviously injuries are going to
Yeah,
derail anybody, but if there's
yeah.
even on I know you guys on defense, you talked about the corners and all that, but on offense, what would be the big things like if this doesn't get better,
Yeah,
this could
I
be
think it
something.
goes a little bit back to the no wide receiver one. Like for the last 3-4 years, it's been okay. Who's your go-to guy when you absolutely have to have a touchdown in the red zone or a 8 yard slant on 3rd and 7. Like who is the guy? And their deep threat receiver Christian Watson won't be available probably until
Right.
late October at the earliest with the ACL injury that he had in the regular season finale. He was a guy who really could take the top off the defense, so they're missing that a little bit there. And who knows, what he comes back, what kind of impact or what kind of ability he has fresh off the ACL surgery. So I do think just while they're really really good at a lot of spots, like the tight ends are really good with Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. The receivers are pretty good with Reed and Dobbs and Golden, and if Watson comes back, but they're not great at
Mhm.
it. They don't have an All Pro at the skill position, the pass catching positions. And they may not even have a Pro Bowler at the pass catching position. So to me, that's maybe the only thing where you could look at that's a little bit of a wonder when you play really good teams. Can you make those plays?
Rob, appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
You got it, John.
That's it for this episode. Thanks to Rob for joining me, and thank you, as always, for tuning in. I'll be back on Thursday with another episode of my 5 things I think leading into the Green Bay Packers game. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you next time.